C-Suite with HSBC Premier. Everything's Premier when life is truly lived.
Right. It is time this morning, as it is on a Monday, for our C-Suite interview, where we are talking to some of the UAE's top business leaders, and we're asking them, how did you do that then? This morning's leader, we are particularly excited about, and that's because the job that he walked into and the challenge that he faced and the brief that he picked up was indeed a big one. I need to give you the background of the company first. It was, before his joining, a company that was making headlines first for the right and then, to be frank, for the wrong reasons. The UAE's largest private healthcare group, NMC Healthcare, had a major financial crisis in 2020, starting in 2019 with a short sellers report. Significant undisclosed debt came to light. The company went into administration in the UK, and there was a complete restructuring of the business. Now, things have stabilised since, and they've got a big new focus on core healthcare here in the UAE. But for the CEO that came in a couple of years ago to steer the next phase of growth in NMC, well, that is quite a portfolio. CEO himself is David Hadley, as he is in this new phase of rebuilding trust, strengthening government, and helping with the end of that turnaround. We're very pleased to have him in the studio. David, good morning.
Good morning, Brandy, and thank you for having me.
Before we talk about that job that you took on at NMC nearly 3 years ago, I want to quickly touch on what you were doing before. The CEO of Mediclinic Middle East for 13 years, one of their hospital directors before that. You don't look old enough to have done that. How old were you when you took the job?
I was in my early 30s when I became the CEO of Mediclinic. I actually started at Mediclinic straight out of high school and as a filing clerk, believe it or not, but worked my career up to being a hospital director in South Africa and then moved to the UAE to build what then was the first greenfield hospital for Mediclinic, yeah.
And when you came here, hello, David, could you come and build a hospital for us? You would have been, what, mid-20s?
Yes, late 20s, yeah.
What was the reaction to that?
Let's do it. It sounded like an exciting opportunity. I looked at the fundamentals of Dubai at that stage, and it looked like it was a great opportunity to build a healthcare system, and I wanted to be part of it. Okay.
And where did you take Mediclinic Middle East from and to?
So when I joined, we had 50% shareholding in the Wellcare Hospital. We built City Hospital. And then it was a period of growth. We acquired quite a few facilities. We built new greenfield facilities, Parkview Hospital being the last one we did before I left. And then we also acquired the Al Noor Group in Abu Dhabi. And yeah, I think we became quite a good brand for people within the UAE.
Okay, and while you were doing that, there was an activist short seller called Muddy Waters Research who published a report about NMC that raised a lot of questions. And the dominoes financially started going after that, didn't they? Early 2020, the company disclosed that it had undisclosed and unauthorised debt. It had been listed in the UK. It had been part of the big FTSE index there. It ended up in administration. There has been a lot of lawsuits and creditors and questions about auditors and then I presume you get a call, I'm assuming it was a call, saying, David, we've got a bit of a challenge for you. What did that call sound like?
I think at the time I'd been at Mediclinic for quite a period of time, so I was ready for a change. And my wife and I had discussed various options. So the timing was pretty good. And I realized that yes, it was a big challenge, and I thought to myself, do I really want to do this? And, it was more about managing my own ego to say, okay, are we going to go and take on a healthcare group that is a tarnished reputation from a Mediclinic, which I believe had and still has a very, very strong reputation. And once I'd overcome that, I said to myself, well, let's go and do it. Let's go and try something new and see what we can achieve there.
Okay, so Mediclinic went into administration in the UK in April 2020.
NMC, yeah.
NMC.
Yeah.
Thank you. In April 2020, you moved from Mediclinic to NMC in 2023. I'm assuming that a lot of the hard financial turnaround work had been done by the time you turned up. What situation did you inherit? What did you walk into?
So the company had come out of administration, as you mentioned, in 2022. There were still quite a few legal overhangs, and there still is, as you read in the media, with the London listed entity, the old London listed entity. Those cases are still ongoing. And because it shares the same name, people obviously conflate the two. But we needed to rebuild the team. We needed to rebuild trust in the brand. It was more about building resilience in the team than building the group, than growing and establishing a stronger brand. We just wanted to create resilience. We wanted to invest in the people, to make sure that they still trusted the brand, that they still wanted to work there, and obviously the suppliers and the payers and the regulators, etc. So it was a lot about implementing governance, and the word trust is quite widely used, but it was about establishing trust amongst all of those stakeholders.
Okay, we're going to get into that shortly, and we're going to have to go and have a look at the roads and take a bit of a break in the moment. But I just want to know, why do it? I mean, you were doing well at Mediclinic. Give it another 20 years, someone would have given you a watch. You could have had a much easier life, David.
I could have, perhaps. I think it was just, I went to Oxford in 2022 and did an advanced leadership program, and that was a lot about self-discovery. And they were saying, look, you're not, it came out that I wasn't pushing myself enough. Try something new. You've been doing the same thing for a number of years. It's going well. Why not challenge yourself and do something different? I don't think at that stage I'd considered NMC. I'd considered doing perhaps a startup or a new type of venture. And then the NMC call came and I said, well, that sounds pretty different, so let's try that. So, yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into exactly how you do rebuild a reputation and trust externally, internally, and where it's going next in just a few moments. But
C-Suite with HSBC Premier. Everything's Premier when life is truly lived.
Right, we are talking to, I'm going to call him the turnaround CEO this morning, because for this section with HSBC, we speak to a CEO about leadership and the stuff they face. And I tell you what, you don't face much harder challenges in terms of re-establishing a brand, a reputation, the ability to hire and grow and I don't know, raise money, look at the future, we'll get into that as well, than taking off on a company that was making headlines for all the wrong reasons in 2019 and 2020. Arguably, the biggest accounting scandal we have seen come out of the UAE. It is NMC Healthcare 2019 end of. There was a short seller report that ended up kicking off basically the collapse of the company ended up in administration in the UK. It ended up off the UK stock market. It has had a major restructuring, but my goodness, what a journey. In February 2023, the then CEO of Mediclinic Middle East, David Hadley, decided that this was what he wanted to do with his time and his talents. David, thank you for staying with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Brandy.
Did anyone warn you against taking the role?
Yes, many people said to me that, well, pretty much made the same comment as you did. Why on earth do you want to do this? And I just felt it was time to try something completely different. And as you say, it was a big challenge, and I felt I was up for it. I understand the market. I understand healthcare. And I listened to all of my friends that were giving me advice, but most of them also knew that it was time for me to try and do something different as well. So they supported the idea in the end. What
were the first and most pressing items then on your to-do list?
So when I first joined the group, what was first required was we needed to establish what the strategy was. There was no strategy. So we convened a strategy session. We put together a set of values. We put together a purpose statement. We put together some objectives and a to-do list of a number of issues that were handed over to me that needed to be resolved. But the most important thing we needed to focus on was the culture and to change the perception of NMC. And to do that, we needed to do that internally first. We needed to trust each other. The staff turnover was around 30-odd%. When I first joined, it was like a revolving door. We weren't getting payment terms with any of the suppliers, even though we were out of administration. And the insurers, we had challenges with the insurers as well. And it was really there was a lot of various there was a lot of items on the to-do list that we needed to resolve. But trust, I think, was the biggest one that we needed to focus on, and this is where I put all my attention towards.
How do you rebuild trust?
I think the first thing was I remember the first meeting with the leadership team at that stage, and I tried to be vulnerable. I said to them, listen, I'm not going to walk in here and say, trust me, we're going to do well. Not at all. I walked in and said, look, we need to start trusting each other. We need to change the way we are doing things. Anything that doesn't look right or doesn't smell right, or we're not going to taste it. We need to get rid of it. We need to make sure that we are absolutely focused on being ethical, on doing things the right way. Any activities that are outside of the value framework, we are not going to accept. And everyone subscribed to that. And I think at times it was challenging because, the revenue might have dropped or we might have lost contracts. But people realized that we were serious, and our shareholders and our stakeholders obviously supported that.
How do you do it internally with staff? Every company's got a mission statement on the wall. Fine. Nice words.
Yeah.
How do you do it internally?
I think the culture starts at the top. I'd like to think so, at least. And I think you need to be authentic. And if you're authentic with your people, in turn, they will be authentic with theirs, and it should filter through. When I first arrived, the first hospital I went to see, DIP Hospital, they had a red carpet and flowers and all sorts of things when I arrived. And I took them aside and I said, look, guys, I'm one of you. I just work here the same as you do. Please do not treat me this way. We're the same team. Whether you're the cleaner or the housekeeper or the catering staff or a doctor, we are all here to deliver excellent patient care. So please don't treat me that way. And it became a standing joke throughout the company. So then now they don't even, when I get there, I go to the Starbucks, I buy my own coffee. That's nice. I like that. That's the way we should be. And I think everybody else that has joined the organization or that has remained with the organization has sort of continued that approach towards the team.
And externally?
Externally, fortunately, I knew a lot of the players and the regulators, the providers, etc. It took a while to rebuild that. I was asked the same questions by the regulators, by the payers, by the providers. But I think they knew from my role at Mediclinic that my values were, I was true to those values, and I planned to deliver them healthcare exactly the same way. And in time, they supported us.
So where are you taking the company now? What's the plan?
So we've had a rather challenging couple of years, selling off shops and shopping malls and assets abroad and putting in, a new leadership team. We had to deal with the floods in DIP. We had rumoured sale last year. So it's been a challenging couple of years in amongst all of this as well. But where we are today is the board and the shareholders got together earlier this year, and we decided to put together a 5-year strategy, or we refined the 5-year strategy, and we're now working towards that.
There's been, and I don't know if this fits into your sale rumours, but certainly, yes, last year people were saying, there's a rumoured IPO, you were rumoured to be talking to, I think, Rothschild advisors. Is this something that could be on the cards for NMC, and how on earth then do you secure investor confidence for that?
So at the moment, we're not actively pursuing a sale. The company, I think, needs to start on this. Well, I believe we need to start showing progress on this 5-year journey that we're on. Ultimately, the shareholders will sell. It's owned by hedge funds and banks, and they're not long-term shareholders. But they've been very supportive. They're supporting the growth initiatives. The team is well established now. It's a big company for the UAE, 80 facilities across the whole of the UAE, 12,000 odd staff. And fortunately, I mentioned the staff turnover earlier. It's now at about 10-11%, which is normal for this part of the world. And people are all very excited and energized towards this new strategy. So we just need to deliver now. And once we start delivering, then potentially we will consider selling or IPOing the business.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. David Hadley, the CEO of NMC, coming in and talking to us about turning around reputation, brand, and the challenge of taking on that job. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.